Hey folks, this is Tolly and welcome to some more game dev. We are starting week 3 of my vacation. We're halfway through the time I have off to work on the demo that we're trying to create by the end of this period. So we want to have a demo by January 5th, and we are currently, if we re-add the calendar and take a look here, on Monday, December 23rd. So we are on holiday week, so that might slow things down, but I'm still planning to do 4 streams throughout this week. Let's kind of take a quick look as we're going to review a little bit here where we've been to. So week 1, we played the build, made some notes, started a PureRef document to kind of track a lot of the polish work, the bugs we're running into, features, and any kind of art feedback we want to give to Drixie on some of the artwork that she's doing. But unlike me, my wife Drixie does not have 4 weeks off, so we are taking what art support we can get right now. But we're trying to focus on trying to do as much of the coding and the design work, and that's our primary focus. So we kind of finished up some remaining tasks that I wanted in the first week. We got the revealing room and like rewarding for fully revealing a room up and running, and we got the individual skills gaining experience. We did some general polish work and got the save system up and running, which has been a huge help in the everything since. Got some new slime enemy art in, and then fixed a couple of bugs, crashes, and started kind of working on the tutorial. I would say last week was primarily focused on continuing to get that tutorial working, at least in Monday, Tuesday. Really focusing on, again, same thing we're going to be doing in this video, kind of playing the build, making some notes, and then we kind of set up the tutorial area. We built like 5 new levels that we're kind of planning out a lot of the space around tutorializing the early game experience about how it's going to be operating with the skill trees and the abilities and everything. And then we started turning off all the UI and making it so the UI would only appear during some of these initial tutorial cutscenes so that the information isn't overwhelming to start. We had a couple of days off in the middle, similar to what we're going to be doing this week. Although last week I worked pretty heavily on getting like a map prop builder system up and running, and we saw a little bit of that on Saturday morning stream, or Saturday the first stream. But until we get some more art support, we're not really going to see the fruits of that map prop builder. So it is what it is, but it feels good to have a much better way of adding all of our billboarded trees and bushes to the game. And then kind of the last couple of days have been kind of low energy, but I would say that it was really focused around getting all of the abilities in, and then like doing a balance pass and fixing like the save system for the skill trees. And we didn't really get to designing the skill trees yesterday. It's still something that we need to do, so we'll put that on the agenda for this afternoon. Or we might take a look at it in the stream, we'll see. But the first thing I really want to do is I want to take a look at the build. Let's run through that. So let's go to the boot screen and let's start the build as if we were doing a full demo, and see how it's feeling. It's not done, still needs a lot of work, but I kind of want to just like take each start of each week to kind of look at it and really critically try and figure out what we're missing. We've called a lot of it out in PureRef, so I may reference things and not write them down because we've already documented it. But I just want to make sure I'm still telling myself what we need to do. Let's also mute the background and play the game audio, which we don't do a lot of. And we probably should do more, but I just don't like having to switch back and forth between turning the different audio devices on. So this still needs a pass, but low priority for me. We have the continue. We now have the save system, kind of been working really well. We hit new game, we transition into the intro boot screen. We get this cutscene with the goddess, a little bit of dialogue here. I'm pretty happy with the way most of this is feeling. We have a task that I'd like to maybe get to today, where we'd have a surprise icon appearing above the character's head, not unlike the enemy's kind of alert icon. I think Drixie made me like a small question mark. I'd like to see how that feels. This is all seeming great. I'm still loving this UI turning on. Oh, right, we still have way too much time on our hands. Okay, let's fix that bug. Well, it's not a bug, it's something I'm doing to make debugging easier, but let's set this back down to the starting amount that makes more sense. Okay. And then start again. Feels like we might want to close Unity and reopen it too. That completing domain is taking a very long time. I think I may have had the editor open for too long. All right, new game.
Huh?
I think I'm pretty happy with this music still. I'm just trying to like be quiet and listen to it for a moment. I really like that it starts kind of like not eerie, but like very quiet. And then as we start working through this dialogue, it kind of reaches a like more of a glorious, like you're going to go on an adventure feel. Depending on the player's reading speed, obviously that'll be a bit different, but I'm pretty happy with that section. Dialogue probably could be improved. I'd still like to do an audio pass on like some of these like sound effects for Hero and get some more sound effects in for the Goddess potentially as well. Here we're just talking about being in the forest, being confused, looking at the stats written on the clock, and then kind of prompting the player to move forward. We can explore this area, but there isn't really anything to do here. Once we step here, we get a kind of small prompt of like, we should just continue walking forward. I'd still like to, you know what, that's something I don't think we've written down. Oh, this is still debug turned on. So many debug problems. I guess I probably should have done a quick run through of this off camera just to kind of fix any of these issues. Debug spawn all, let's turn that off. And then from the top, one more time, hopefully.
Huh?
I feel like that huh noise is a little aggressive. It's not quite giving the tone I want of confusion. Feels more like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right. Let's take a snipping and let's make a note here. I'd like to do something that indicates that you're about to walk off the path. So this is a kind of a medium level polish problem, but there should be some sort of indication of edge of map. Specifically here, maybe it fades to darkness or something along those lines. That could be cool. But we definitely should be doing something to indicate to the player that we're going to be walking away. This is all placeholder art. I'm not going to write this down, but we're just trying to get the idea of like shape and form. But I'm pretty happy with the way that the prop management system is working now. If we come in here and look at it in billboard form, we now have the ability to place like multiple props per tile and to kind of layer them so that we can have multiples. So we can have like tree, bush, and then like a tree in the background, trying to make the forest look more dense. You don't see all of those trees all the time. Some of them are quite hidden back there. But it's kind of just giving more of this illusion of like a thick forest in behind. And I'm liking the general like shapes of this. It's just the color choices which are kind of just blocked in for now. I'm still not happy with this sequence. So once we fully explore the first room, we get this starting ability pop-up, which needs to be like, it needs a pass. I think it's fine for the time being, but I would like to have it improved. I think the thing I'm more concerned about here is the task here is to add a cutscene for gaining first ability. There should be some sort of dialogue. The goddess should be involved in some way. I'd like to get, there's another feature we have over here somewhere, just written down, I think. No? Ah, here. Option to anchor dialogue to UI. I think I'd like to have the dialogue speaking and have the dialogue prompt coming from the clock that she gave you. Kind of a small way of communication. I don't think this is super complicated. I think it's very much just it'd be nice if there was some form of like, you know, hey, you're clearing the darkness, you're giving me back my power, you know, here's some skill that you can now unlock. It doesn't need to be anything major, but just having this dialogue appear with no cutscenes feels odd. Another small polish thing I'm noticing here is that this, during that cutscene, actually let's get a different snip with like at least part of it in here so it's easier to tell what I'm going to be concerned about. But the issue here always brings the note up wherever my cursor is, so we should try and add it on the far left so text doesn't go off the screen. The problem here is the room reveal percentage progress is not complete during room complete cutscenes, and this is a little bit of a timing issue. I think we should solve. Okay, so we select our first ability, but we don't see that ability in any way. It's a choice. I don't know if I love it or hate it. But when we walk forward here, we get a little prompt about there being an enemy. Then we show the UI here at this moment where we then are instructing the player to use their new ability while showing that UI. The enemy goes first. Did we write that down anywhere? I don't know if we did. We did not. Also, hydration redeemed. Thank you, unlockable characters. I don't know what to call this. It's like a design problem more than anything. We'll call it polish, because kind of a lot of the polish stuff is design work. But enemy alert interrupts player's turn. So even if the player has turn actions left, once the enemy appears and does their little alert, that causes the turn to end automatically, which I don't love. But I also don't hate. I think the reason I don't hate it is I think there's a world in which we don't show this action bar at all until you engage an enemy. the problem is, what does engaging an enemy mean? Like, right now when an enemy is revealed, the AI tries to hunt you down. So if we want to make it so that the action bar is only revealed when combat starts, that means we need some sort of initiating combat system, which is a feature. But I think it's something that, like, I'm interested in. Drixie's been asking me to build something like that for a while. I'm just not sure if it's needed. The main problem I have with it is the communication aspect. I'm down with, like, hey, the enemy only attacks you within a certain range so that you have somewhat of a time to get set up or to sneak up on them. Like, we can play with all those mechanics if we want. The problem is communication. Like, how do you know the radius of an enemy? I feel like probably the easiest thing would be to put, like, some sort of marker on the tiles, but we're gonna have to build some sort of tracker to keep track of, like, the enemy sight range and then highlight any tiles that would initiate combat. We could do something similar to, I think I'm picturing Into the Breach, with, like, just like warning kind of lines with, like, red lines with gaps in between them to indicate that these are danger zones that will start combat. But overall, I feel like a lot of the game is starting to feel very diegetic. Everything's in the world. So, like, having the enemy just have, like, these little warning signs... Well, is it any different from just having, like, the indicator underneath your feet? Like, when the enemy attacks you, the square highlights red, which, funnily enough, the enemy square doesn't highlight red when we attack. There must be a difference between our abilities, which we'll need to refine. Actually, that's probably worth writing down. Oh, we died. There's more work here, too. Actually, let's just get a tighter shot of that. There's so much to document. Okay, I'm glad we're doing this today. I feel like we made a lot of progress last week, and week 2's planning day, when we played the build, it was like, yeah, we've written everything down, but I'm feeling like there's a lot of stuff that we didn't shortcut per se, but, like, definitely didn't get to a level of complete that I would consider done. We got a lot of stuff last week done to, like, 90%, and there's still a lot more content to add. Here, we add more narrative cutscenes after each run. So I'd like there to be, like, a conversation with the goddess when you return to the goddess realm, and I'd like to have multiple different versions and, like, special ones that activate on certain flags being true, like you running out of time before even finding the first enemy. I think there could be like something funny to having, like, a small cutscene there. Well, let's look at the skill tree later. I want to go grab, before I forget, I want to go grab a shot of the enemy highlighting the square below us red, and I just want to call out that there's an inconsistency there. I don't know whether or not it should be that red should be removed, or whether or not it should be added for the player. Our time seems surprisingly low. Should it really have taken that much time to just walk here? That might be a bug. Let's get the snipping tool out again, and we're going to set a delay for 3 seconds, hit new, and then skip our turn. Didn't time it right. Shoot. We'll try again. 3 second delay, new, wait. Still didn't get it. Well, we're just... One more time. I think I can get this. It is very quick though. That red highlight is only for a few frames. I'll give it one more shot. Oh, our time is not resetting. Really? Time remaining. Advanced time. Get time. Ah, time only resets if we run out of it. That's a real quick bug. We're not going to write that one down. We're just going to fix it real quick. So inside of the backend state manager here, when we reset our health on death, we do a cutscene. We should also be resetting the timer. Ooh, do we not have the ability to access that? Let's find out. Clock manager dot get clock state. I guess from that we should be able to modify the clock. Yeah, we can get its variable time remaining, but I think what I'd like to do this call. This is what we're looking for. It's not named very well. I think what it should be is reset clock. Ooh, this is a good point, actually. This is another code problem while we're in here. Something that's harder to view. But the clock manager currently has its value hard-coded. I'm going to call this a feature. But we should change time remaining to be similar. Well, maybe to be a unit stat. This would allow us to modify the time via a stat node. If not this, we should at least have a new type of ability node that can increase our time. We should also... So we want to have change time remaining to be a unit stat, and then we'd also like to make it so time can increase and is not hard-coded. Sure, that'll make it more clear. Because we're going to want... I had kind of forgotten that, but when we start building the trees, the skill trees, we're going to likely want to have some nodes for increasing the amount of time you have per run. I think that's going to feel pretty powerful. Let's load the autosave. And we're still trying to get that screenshot of the red icon under the player's feet. I believe I've called out that the... What if we don't do a delay? What if we just hit... Got it. I just timed it well. I just didn't use the timer. I just hit new screenshot moments after hitting skip turn. So this isn't really a bug. This is, again, kind of just a design thing we need to figure out. But we need to have... well, it's a question. Should square highlight red as part of attack make player attack consistent, as it currently doesn't highlight? Good. Oh, also, I guess technically what we could be doing is we could be making it so this is always on top of Unity as well, so that we don't have to keep clicking back and forth between them. That is the power of PureRef. So now when we die, yeah, our health reset, or our time resets. Okay, cool. That bug is also fixed. Okay, so we fight the first enemy. We die pretty handily. We need to balance the stats. Clearly the enemy is doing too much damage to us right now. From here, we are... going into the skill tree. This all still needs an art pass. Have we called out... We've called out that the cursor needs to be updated, right? Yeah, make new selector. I don't think we've called it out yet. Let's grab another snip. There's another feature we'd like to add at some point here. Can really be anything. There's already an identical screenshot here, but whatever. We want to change it so... we want to... no, we don't want to change. We want to add a ability improvement node. Which is basically a node that will allow us to increase the power of the ability. So we'll also need to have some way of displaying ability power on skill tree. Because if we're going to increase it, we're going to need to be able to see it. Do we want to have that on the previous screen as well? We have space for it. Okay. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the way this is feeling, though. Oh, we don't need... we don't need equipable count. That is a concept from Heir of Embers, so this UI can be removed. Remove equipable count UI. That's pretty easy. Wow, the polish items are adding up quickly. Alright, what else can we see that we need to fix or add? I mean, I've called it out that this screen shouldn't appear if you only have one checkpoint. But you know what another piece of information we should probably have is? We should probably have a call out to add map image to checkpoint screen. We built this on a stream, and I feel like once we got it done, I was like, okay, I gotta end the stream right when we finished up. And I am starting to feel like we never finished it, basically, and we should have. It just got lost because there was other tasks that became more important. So we definitely need to actually finish that screen. Okay. Now, can we get much further? I guess we'd have to dodge the enemy. So if we let them come to us, then we'll have enough movement to bypass them. Which is good for testing, but at some point we'll want to fix. Okay, this is a dead end. We probably could do another pass on the level design of these maps. My idea here was that, like, hey, once you fight this enemy, you might want to explore the area to find everything. But that might be too early here. We could save this concept for one of the other rooms coming forward. This room could just be about the enemy and just make it a small little room that you fight in. Let's add this image. Let's scale it way down. Some of these things are becoming way too big. And then do another pass on tutorial map layouts. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that previous map could be a lot simpler. Something that's also concerning, and I think this same task still covers it, is we don't have enough time to reach the first checkpoint. With the current layout, we might want to... because we go from the first statue to the tutorialization of completing a room, because there's no way to progress through that room without revealing the entire thing. Then we have a combat tutorial room. And then we have 2 more combat tutorial rooms. Are they all necessary? So we could move it so instead of going to tutorial room 5, we just go straight to from tutorial room 4 to the next Scottish checkpoint, which would cut out a fair amount of movement. But then we'd have to modify that scene so that you come in from the top instead of coming in from the side. Does that really matter, though? I'm not going to make that decision right now, but I think it's definitely something to think about, is maybe that layout isn't great. And I just want to find some way of cutting down some of the movements so that you can get to the first checkpoint a little bit easier. I don't even think you should have to go into the skills tree and buy like one of those nodes to unlock more time that I was just talking about. I don't think you want to... I don't think that needs to be required. I feel like if you know what you're doing, you should be able to just start a run and get to that first checkpoint. Good morning, Magnus. We are just kind of going through and playing the build and trying to write down all the different polish items, features, bugs that we can see that we're going to need to work on over the next few weeks here. I feel like I was feeling pretty confident in getting the demo done in the next, or I should say the remaining 2 weeks of my vacation, but we're going to have to make some choices at some point here is really what's going to happen. We're going to need to decide on what we fix and what we leave for the demo, because I don't think we're going to be able to get all of it. Yeah, we're going to have to make some decisions. I think that's basically it, though. I think we've played through everything there is to play through at this point, and we've gotten a good number of kind of features and polish items. Not a lot of bugs, though. I feel like the small amount of bugs we've been having aren't too bad. That's kind of like my strength / weakness, I would say, is when it comes to programming stuff, I tend to over-engineer a little bit and really think through the problems, and that yields to me often writing code that is, I would say, no one is no bugs. No one can say they have no bugs, but I definitely feel like I tend to write like less bugs. I don't know what metric I'd be comparing that to. I don't really want to compare myself to others. I will say I write less bugs than I have from previous versions of myself in the past. I have definitely gotten way better over like the past 15 years at like writing strong code that doesn't tend to break. So, and we can kind of see that there isn't a lot of bugs here. And when there are bugs, they're usually pretty complicated. But my point is that yields to me spending a lot of time in the coding session, though, which definitely slows us down sometimes. All right, so if we finished reviewing everything, I think we kind of got to look at what the plan is. So we've got 4 major days. I don't think I'll get anything done during the holidays. Maybe Friday I might have some time to myself to get some work done. But let's not schedule anything. Any time in there can be bonus to work on just random polish items off camera. Maybe things that require a lot of thought. And then I believe I'll probably have 4 days on the final week, maybe 5 if we really need it. I should really figure out what my schedule is there. But for this week, what do we want to focus on? Definitely seeing a lot of polish and feature items. Are any of these feature items required in order for us to build the video game and get to the demo which of these features are necessary versus which of them are just nice to have. Simplify abilities, remove unit/tile targets, change target direction to target parameter. So this is a really nice refactor that, as we've been using the ability system, I would like to make, but is not required. The ability system as built should function fine. So that can go into a backlog section. We will not get to that. Okay, well, apparently some things are parented. Can I copy this one? I can. Backlog. Post demo /stretch. Okay. So way over here in an area we're not going to look at a lot, we're going to move that task. Interact with the goddess. Is that a backlog item, or do we think we're getting to that in the next 2 weeks? I think that can be a backlog. I think we can get a dialogue when we return. We can get a narrative cutscene on each time we enter. Depends on the scope. If we want this to just be like talk to the goddess and get like a dialogue prompt that's just like, you're doing it. Keep up the good work, hero. Do the isekai thing. We could probably get something like that in relatively quickly. Swap the order of continue and new game should be easy. The bigger question here is the options. Do we think we're going to get the options? Also, can I do right-click arrange? Optimal? Okay. So that's nice, but also I need to kind of keep the order. So I think this is mandatory. It's weird because it's not part of the core loop, which is what I've been struggling to get up and running for the last few weeks. But I do think if we're going to put a demo out, I'm going to need options for controls, audio. Like, these are just quality of life features that I do think we need to build. And it shouldn't take long. I think maybe one, worst case 2 streams. We just need to allocate a day to it. This I do think we want to build, so this is kind of like me reviewing some code before checking in. But I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to make it so that when we create the design data from saving a level, we should also generate a cutscene for complete, and we should make it so that that generated cutscene also has a sequence step already in it as its final step to set the flag that it's been completed. So also necessary, but could be a lot smaller. Skill tree stuff. So we want to have unlockability nodes in other specs, not unlock when the ability is unlocked elsewhere. Okay, so this statement's really weird, but basically if you unlock this skill somewhere else, or if you choose it as your starting skill, it should be auto unlocked in all skill trees that contain it. That's going to be required. We do need to do that, otherwise you'll be able to unlock multiple versions of the skills and then complete their skill trees, and they can just keep looping and adding more versions of themselves, you know, in an infinity. So we do need that to be functional. Add the ability improvement. I think this feature is also required. I think if we don't have the ability to increase the power of an ability through the skill tree, the kind of decision making of like, do I take an old skill that I've leveled up and is slightly stronger than my newer unlocked skill, isn't going to be there. And I think it's going to be a big power spike too when we get it in. Destructible flags, flags that after being set is deleted from the list of flags. This is an optimization so that when we're looking through all of our possible flag options, we're not taking forever. I don't think that's necessary for the demo, that we're not going to have enough flags, at least for the demo, that there should be any performance hits when we're looking through them. Build a run tracking backend state manager. So we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but right now we only have the idea of the backend, which tracks all information for all time, and we have the dungeon manager, which tracks all information per run. And the issue is some of the information that we're tracking inside of the backend manager, for example, the clock, the clock information is something that I feel like should be per run, not remembered at all times. The way we're currently doing it is fine. We're just having to remember to reset at any point that we like finish a run, but it feels a bit weird to me. It would be nice if there was like a more concrete, like, we are done a run, wipe all the data that was related to it, and then let's start anew. There definitely needs to be a end of run state, but I think for the demo we can get to a point where we can have this function with a little bit of hackery, and it'll become more important when we get to some of the later features like events. Yes, we definitely want to have it so that we can modify the clock and have it be upgraded and not be hard-coded. We will need that for the demo. What is this one? Look into spawning objects or adjusting state based on completed room based off of a cutscene reward. So the idea here was that we might want to spawn a treasure chest as part of completing a room, fully revealing it. So if I grab this, like this full percentage, when this is fully done, we could have it so a treasure chest is spawned here at the end, which was what I was thinking when I originally built this level. But once that chest is spawned, if you walk over and you interact and pick it up and then leave the level, right now the way it works is all cutscenes are spawned on revealing the room, and if you re-enter the room it re-reveals everything, which means the cutscene triggers again. So number one, we need to make it so cutscenes don't re-trigger. But if that's the case, that means that that treasure chest would not be here if you exit and come back in. So I think part of the system of the cutscenes is going to be making a flag that gets set once that cutscene is run, and that cutscene should make it so the chest starts spawned on that room entering. And whether or not it's looted should be handled by a different flag, and it shouldn't matter. The question is, do we need this? I don't even have chests or interactable chests at this point, so this task feels a bit silly. But I feel like I'd like to have a, chest unlock. So maybe that's a better way to describe this. Let's add a draw tool. Let's circle this part here. Even though this map is probably going to change, we'll still use it as the example. And then add chest spawning as an option for reward. Reveal 100% revealed rooms. Add a chest spawn as an option for 100% revealed room rewards. It's very wordy. And then look into blah 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 blah. Add flags to determine if objects should start spawned, is really what all those other words were trying to describe. And these two together form a feature that we would like to have. If we don't get it, I won't cry about it. So I'm going to move it over here as like a, not necessary. Change skybox color from black to space or blue cloudy sky in the goddess realm is what this is specifically referring to. That doesn't have to happen for the demo. It just being black like all the other levels is fine. And then option to anchor dialogue to the UI, I would like to get that feature as well, because it's going to be nice to have for some of the tutorialization that we're still missing. Okay. So we've moved some of the features to the backlog, not necessary, but nice to have. Hello to you, Wiseham on YouTube. Okay, I guess we should do the same thing for bugs. I assume we want all of these. Honestly, this one isn't really causing any issues right now. We do have some weird flags that are apparently not found or something. I'd like to dig into it, but not necessary. features. I would think all bugs should be completed, but if they're... This is more of a cleanup bug, so it's not as big a deal. So I can go there. What do we got else over here? Hitting A while dialogue is appearing skips text rather than completing it. I'd like to at least dig into that a little bit and figure out what's going on. Death animation interrupted by idle. Right, the slime kind of freaks out when it dies and does a weird, like, changing between a bunch of different animations. That should be looked into. Starting ability select screen appears every time you enter TO2. Yeah, that also needs to be fixed. Which is kind of still related to the chest spawn stuff, but it's a separate bug and needs to be handled. Okay, so all these 3 bugs do need to be fixed. Polish. I think we've done everything relating to the tutorial at this point. We could probably delete this prompt hierarchy. Drag this out from under here. I think when you copy a piece of text, it like auto parents it, which is interesting. Okay. Polish. Now, polish is probably one of the spots we're going to have the easier time removing and backlogging some of these items. Let's go here. Polish. But at the same time, I also don't like the idea of releasing the demo until it's in a state that I really like. Right now, this is kind of categorized by easy and hard. We probably should be categorizing this by high priority. Why does that look wrong? No, it's fine. Okay. Low priority. Reduce audio volume for sound effects. Let's move all this up. Let's abandon all of our existing organization. Let's drag this down a bit, and let's arrange these, and we're going to go through them, ignoring whatever the original positioning was. Find a way to disable tile revealing by sight in the Goddess Realm. I'd like to do this. This is a higher priority for me because I would like to have it so that when we return to the Goddess Realm after a few runs, this area with the skill stuff is auto-populated. It just all appears and like just all fills in. I don't want you to have to walk over to it. And so I need to have some way of flagging certain tiles as unrevealable by sight. And they need to be revealed by cutscenes. So this is a high priority and can go on the left side. Dialogue pass and replacing audio effects with solo character pack. We do need to do that, but I wouldn't say it's a high priority. It's just something I need to do. But it's definitely not low. Skill point usage. Used for strong abilities. Low HP is not clear. Easy to miss. I actually think this can be backlogged. It's gonna yield to the feedback of, hey, I didn't notice when I was about to die when people play the demo, and that's okay. It's gonna create bad experiences, but it's bad experiences that I think I can live with. I say it all aloud and I just doubt myself. Okay, well, at the very least, we can pull out this section. And make this a separate task. I think the using skill points for strong abilities is a stretch to me. I don't think we have to get this. We're just going to reorganize a little bit. Features, bugs, polish, in progress. Art stuff is sort of out of our control, so we're not going to worry too much about categorizing that, but we do want to keep track of it. Can we reduce the size of the canvas back down? I guess it doesn't really matter. Just bring things in a bit. Okay. So maybe we shouldn't be pulling... I'm debating whether or not we should be pulling polish items into the backlog. I think it's fine just to leave them over here as low priority. I don't know if I'll get to them, but we'll leave them here. I am going to separate these two out though, because they're two different problems. They just happen to use the same UI image. Indication of edge of map. Again, low priority, not required. I'd probably rate it lower priority than the fixing of the health bar to make it more noticeable. Sure. What's this? Do another pass on tutorial maps. I think that's a high priority. That's definitely something I need to get to. Not clear when another action can be performed. Punch animation missing anticipation frame. So in a lot of ways, this is similar to the health problem, which is why originally it was on the high difficulty. It's like high difficulty stuff is low priority to me, and I don't know if that's right, but the issue here is that I'm not sure how to solve this. And in the past, the nice thing about working on this as a hobby is that in the past I've had situations where I'm just not sure how to solve something and I just leave it. I just don't worry about it. And then I'll be on a walk somewhere, or I'll be doing some other activity, and then it'll just come to me when I'm thinking about problems, and I'll be like, wait, this is the solution to that. And so yeah, I could probably try and force some sort of problem solve here, but I kind of want to leave it and see if it comes with a natural solution. Add level up text to ability effects. This is a nice to have. Somewhere in the middle here. I'd like to have some sort of indication. It'd also be nice to try and add some text for the actual level up to see if that makes it feel better. Replace Wisp with smaller variant. We just need to find this. I need to talk to Drixie. She definitely did this work. I just don't know where it is, and it's not available to me. This is easy, but it is not a high priority. Removing this it's confusing, but I don't need to do it, but it'll take so little time that I'll probably do it at some point. Combo action points. Combo points appear during... Wow, my brain is just adding words. Combo point appears before hit animation. So we haven't been seeing this as much in our playtests because we're not necessarily choosing... We're choosing Slash, which I don't think is the first combo ability, versus the Slime. This is still, I think, a high priority. We got the combo point system in on a stream, and it's another thing where we, quote-unquote, finished it to 90%, but then we just moved on to other tasks. And so we need to go back and we need to actually improve this. There's just, the whole combo system needs a set of improvements. It's not done. So that's still a relatively high priority task. This is a high priority. We need to set the combo point, or sorry, checkpoint. Combo point? Checkpoint? I need to set up the screen to actually have a map and be more visually indicating to the player of like where they're going, as well as I would like to make it so that if you don't have any checkpoints beyond the first, it just doesn't even show up yet. I would say that it is a low-ish priority doing an audio pass. Right now it's fine. It's maybe a little harsh in spots, but not a big deal, especially if we add the option menu. change music to battle music when fighting. This kind of goes back to something we were talking about earlier about this idea of like enemies having like an alert radius. I think if we do some sort of like system for there needing to be like something that triggers the enemy to seeing you, then having battle music start at that moment would make sense. We'll leave it here. It'll probably come for free with something else. This is a question mark one. I do think it needs a solution, but it's actually probably pretty high. We need to solve this in order to be able to solve other problems. Things are dependent on figuring out how we handle the enemy interrupting the player's turn. Change facing to look towards attacker. This is very low. It's definitely something I'd like to do and should be relatively easy, but not required. UI action point bar is not pixel perfect. Again, this bothers me so much. It looks so bad. But could we release a demo with the UI being a little wonky and like sliding around as the player moves? Yes. Yes, we could. Will we get feedback on it? Yes. Would it completely ruin a player's experience? No, I don't think so. Add more narrative cutscenes for each run. This is a high priority to me. This is content. We just need to add that content. Should square highlight red as part of attack make the player's attack consistent? Similar to previous ones, it's a visual bug that I don't like, and I want to track it and make sure I fix it, but it's not a high priority. This has to be solved. We need to figure out how we're going to be granting the first ability, and we have to do that. This one less so. Again, does it annoy me that the progress bar up here says 98 until this dialogue prompt goes away and probably until a player takes another action? Yes, it should say 100% you have finished the room. This is the reward happening for 100%ing the room, but it's low-ish, probably higher than these ones, but still low. And then lastly, spawn a particle from the item for item handoff in boot screen. Low, but probably still higher than these other ones. It like speaks to the player's experience. Oh, that's interesting. I right-clicked, which is what auto-closed that. Okay. So I would say these are the polish items that we need to do. This is the bugs that we have to fix. These are the features that I would like to complete, which may yield more bugs and more polish. And then we had this one in progress thing, surprise alert icon. I haven't actually started it. I would just like to get to it next. It was kind of the next thing I wanted to do. We just didn't get to it at the end of that stream. But it's not really that high of a priority. It's like similar to the item handoff. Like these feel like they're kind of in this like medium level priority to me. I should just move it out. It's this constant battle of should I do the easy things or should I do the things that actually matter? And I should do the things that actually matter. We can try and fit in all the easy things in the last few days if we have time. But some of these high priority polish items, bugs and features, if we don't have those, we can't ship it. Ship it for feedback, specifically. Okay, so we have played the build. We have made notes about the build. I feel like have created work items. We have organized the items into set categories. Now we should actually distribute them. Throughout the next week. Just click always on top. I have a little bit of room above my head. We can drag that out a bit. It feels so small. Can I full screen this actually? Is there a way to... No, that is not what I want to do. Oh no. How do I reset it to proper size? Oh no. Okay, I think that's back to normal. Grouping, arranging, zoom to fit. It's not really what we're looking for either. That's full screen presentation. That's still not quite what we're looking for. Okay, we'll make do. Actually, you know what's probably easiest? What if we just do this? That's probably the easiest way to go. It'll give us the most room to see. Okay. So, today, we're an hour in. Which, when I read that, my first thought is I'm wasting so much time. But this is important. We need to prioritize work. And we need to document work that needs doing. I think bugs are probably the biggest deal. Anything that's a straight bug is potentially... these are not that high priority. This one is. This is an issue. Starting ability select screen appears every time you enter TO2. That has to get fixed. I don't know how. And I think it gets fixed as part of whatever the reveal room cutscene stuff is. So maybe this is one of the things we should do. And this kind of ties into the narrative cutscene and design data work that we were hoping to do. These are kind of the same task. So I think... we're going to break this up. We're going to make this what we work on next. This is going to be our next task. And we're going to just call this narrative cutscenes, starting ability cutscene. We need to figure out what we're doing here. The more I play it, the more I kind of hate just getting the ability in the world. We got to go back to the drawing board on this one. Okay, so that's probably what we'll work on today. As part of this... Whoa. Sorry, whistled as I spoke. How's the pop? Since I've been streaming again, I have not installed the pop screen. Are the P sounds killing people this whole time and no one mentioned it? I don't know where the pop screen is. When I'm speaking, I don't know. I'll take a listen to some of the previous videos, but it's probably fine. If anything, I could probably move the mic to be a little bit out of my speech pattern, so there's less puffs of air hitting the mic as I say P and S sounds. Sorry, the whistling completely threw me off. Find a way to disable tiles. I think this all kind of goes into the same problem set, which is essentially Goddess Realm cutscenes. Is probably a better, title for this. Because we're going to want to have specific tiles revealing in a specific way. We're going to want to add more narrative cutscenes after each run. We're going to want to add this to a Goddess Realm cutscene, I think, in some way. I don't know how, but this needs to be something that happens at the end of the first run, not right here. And then I want to set up some design data for it as well, so it's more easy to edit. Replace whiffs with small variant. This I can leave as a high priority, but I don't have an exact time from that. It's going to depend on finding it. Do another pass on tutorial maps. Nothing else is really related to this. This is just kind of like a design thing. It's kind of related to this task, because something about the way that I'm designing the first few rooms, it just doesn't make sense. We talked about this a lot when I built the starting ability, and I have not come to a solution. But the issue is that I want to have it so that when you go through the initial part of the world, through the Goddess Realm, and then complete this first room, I want this first room to give you your first ability. But then I don't want you to gain that ability in the world. I want that to be a part of the Goddess Realm. But that means that we need you to go to room 1, room 2, complete room 2, and then maybe die to the slime? We could do that pretty easily because the slime always goes first. It just feels like such an awful thing to put the player through. Just like, hey, here's this game, have fun. Oh, you died. On purpose, right away. But I want this to be granted to you after you completed your first run. The other option is we give you not enough time. So maybe this room doesn't have any combat in it. But then we run into the problem where I want you to have enough time to be able to reach the first statue. And so if I limit your time, then the goddess needs to give you more time as a reward. I don't know. I'm not here to solve problems. I'm here to schedule. So we'll figure that out after lunch. Combo points. Yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I feel like Goddess Realm cutscenes and starting ability is like something that just needs more work. And it might need just the rest of the day, if not more. Okay, so let's assume that that takes the rest of the day, and maybe I have to do some work on the off time in order to finish it. What else? We've got 3 more days of work here. What else can we get done? We're gonna need to just spend some time on the combo system at some point, but I'm inclined to leave this till next week because there's just other pieces that we need to solve like this before we even get to the idea of unlocking enough abilities to do combos. This also kind of ties into the same problem. Everything's kind of tying back to the tutorialization just being... I think this is related. So I guess maybe a better way to call this out is I need to spend today and probably the good chunk of tomorrow working on tutorial flow. Replace audio VFX with solo character pack. That doesn't need to be done right now. That can be done next week. Add level up text to ability effects. This is a nice piece of polish along with a couple of these other ones. I don't think we need to do any of that right this second. Let's look at features. We definitely don't need to do interact to talk with the goddess. I think this does need to be done. These two things are important enough that I think they're worth calling out specifically. So maybe tomorrow, second stream, we look at ability, skill tree. I guess we could just say skill tree. Fixes. Features. There are additional features. And then at the same time, I think we can look at this backend manager clock stuff, because this will kind of tie in depending on how we decide to augment the time remaining. It's either going to change to be a stat and then we can automatically have it as a type of stat node, or we're going to change it so it's its own thing still, but it should have its own type of ability node as well. So I think the timer plus time nodes. Does that fit? It does. So we'll work on general ability improvements tomorrow, along with probably finishing up any work we do on the tutorial today. This stuff. Moving on to Saturday. Saturday, what do we need to do? We could look at the option menu. I do really think I need to do it. It feels like it's so tangential to all of the other gameplay stuff. Yeah, this chunk is most of the work we need to be doing. Huh. Sorry, chat. I'm trying to process. I don't know what else there is, like, other than the options screen. I'm sure there's a ton of stuff we need to do. Balance pass. We still haven't finished the balance pass. That's what I need to do. I need to minimize this and look at this list of items here. These are kind of like bigger overarching problems that need to be solved. That's probably what comes next. So we spend the first 2 days of this week looking at kind of polish items, cleaning up things that were half done in previous streams and not really completed, building out remaining features for the skill tree. And then if we get to any other items, that's great, but I think all of this other stuff is low enough priority that we don't need to worry about it. So then there's kind of just overarching things that still need to be done. So the balance pass on stats, still needs work. We still need to build all of the actual maps, but I think that'll become more understandable once we have a good tutorial flow. There's the enemy AI pass. Okay, yeah, these are the things I'm missing. Design skill trees is the other big one. We keep pushing this one out. I keep adding it as like one of the next things I need to do, but then we keep finding other bugs and features that are taking priority. Let's put that there again. It's an easy one to throw down. Then it probably makes sense to look at an AI pass for how the enemies operate. And if we do an AI pass, I expect that'll probably take us a day and a half, if not into next week, because the AI system is not really as fleshed out as it needs to be. So today, tomorrow, solve tutorials. Get skill trees up and running. That once the extra skill tree features are in, that'll give us a better understanding of how to balance things and how to design those skill trees with those new features. And I think this might be an ebb and flow. I think we can do an initial pass, and then we're going to need to do the AI pass to figure out like things that we haven't solved. Like, do the enemies get 2 actions and then they can use those actions to move and attack, or do they just get a move and then a single attack? Like, there's things like how they behave that we need to solve with the AI pass. Probably better to use the full terminology. Enemy AI pass. Okay. So once we figure out some of the enemy AI stuff, that'll probably mean that we'll come back and do another pass on the stats again. And maybe even the skill tree. But I kind of want to get like an initial idea with the basic kind of melee enemy that we have, and then we can figure out more later. Oh, one more thing I need to write down is... Ooh, this might actually push stuff out of it a little bit. Build shoot ability. So right now all of our abilities are melee. We need to make shoot an actual ranged ability, and we need to determine how that's going to operate. In order for us to really do a balance pass, we probably need to do that first. And I'm guessing that the build shoot ability ranged ability type might take us a whole stream. And if it doesn't, we push things forward. And that gives me 4 more days to finish everything else, which involves... What would be the remaining work? For next week. We ideally should have this built, this should be done, this should be done, mostly, this should be done, this should be done. This is probably going to be a stretch. I'm going to put options down because I think it's big enough that it deserves to be a wholehearted task, not just bugs and polish. Part of the AI pass will have to be building the enemy's abilities as well. Next week is just more content, I think, is the big thing. We're going to need to build all the maps. We're going to have to build all the buildings. Or all the abilities. We're going to have to create more cutscenes that we think might be interesting and fun. What other content would we need? I guess part of abilities is also skill trees, because if we add new abilities, we need new skill trees for them. I feel like I'm forgetting stuff. I mean, if we can go into week 4 with this being all we have left, I think that would be pretty good. I don't think we're getting the event system. We've been listening to this one for a while. That doesn't feel like the energy I need right now. Sure. Oh, we've been listening to that for a while because that's the background music of the game, right? Okay, let's switch this back up here. I don't know if I've done audio testing on that, actually. How loud was that background music comparatively? That's hitting like negative 35 on the decibel meter? Negative 35, negative 40? Or is this one negative 40 to negative 45? Okay, so that was like 5 decibels louder. I don't know if that would have made a difference. Oh, sometimes this... Oh, it's similar. It's similar. Sometimes these songs also get up to a similar range. Okay, so I think I just lucked out that the audio is of a similar volume. Or I did that on purpose at some point and forgot. Okay. We have to build shoot. We have to build some extra features for the skill trees. Build more cutscenes. I'm forgetting something. I'm forgetting something important that we still need to do. What am I forgetting? I think it's something I didn't even mention on camera either. I remembered the shoot. We've got treasure chest stuff written down. Got it. The other thing that we had talked about was the idea that certain nodes would require more than just skill points. So I think this goes under skill tree features, but it's not listed anywhere and we need to write it down. Add ability I don't know what to call it, tier tokens, tier items to unlock next level abilities. That's another feature that we had talked about. That's what I was missing inside of ability system? No. Unlock order. We had talked about having like a tier stone item that in order to go to /2, you might need to get a tier stone. And that tier stone would be a thing that allows you to unlock the next skill up. So that the player can't just like beeline it for /V2, but this is something that's given as potentially a reward for completing a zone or as part of tutorialization with the Goddess Realm. Like maybe once you get far enough and get enough checkpoints, she gives you a tier stone as a reward. I think there's something to that idea. I just don't know what it is exactly. There's like a missing piece. Like just going back to this idea of like the Goddess Realm cutscene problem. We have this idea that like we want to give you your starting ability, and I want most, if not all, the mechanics to come from the Goddess Realm, but we want to have it so that revealing a room is the thing that like makes progress towards rewards. I feel like we're missing a mechanic in between. Like maybe revealing a room grows the goddess's power, and then when you finish a run and go back to her, then she's like, I feel more powerful as you dispelled more of the Demon Lord's miasma, and I feel like I can give you more, you know, abilities. The weird thing about this is I only want you to get your first ability. The idea here is that the goddess is like unlocking your potential, and you can choose the first starting piece of potential for yourself, but then after that it's on you to grow yourself. You're like, it's just she's not giving you new abilities, she's unlocking your potential. Correct, unlockable characters. That's what I'm getting at. Because originally we had the, like, this, like, end of screen when you finished a run, you got, like, points for how many tiles revealed and enemies defeated, and that was what was giving your skill points globally. But I think, I don't want to go back to this, but I do think I want some sort of, like, mechanic that is growing her power. So that's what I don't want to do unlockable characters. I don't want to have completing 3 tasks unlock the second skill. I want the skills to be unlocked via the skills tree. AKA you unlock them via nodes. It's only the first ability because we need some way of granting you your very first one. But perhaps she grants you not the unlocking of the second skill, but she grants you like the skill orbs as part of growing her power, which allows you to continue to unlock your potential. Maybe there's some sort of like weaving between those two ideas that fits together. Yeah, okay, we're coming to the same page, I think, then. Yeah, so the Goddess Realm powering up could be the thing that gets you access to the tier stones. And whether you're unlocking rooms or defeating enemies, these all lead to these tier stone upgrades. Also been thinking lately I might want to have a center one. So your first level of magic actually comes from like a magic stone. And all 3 of the skills unlock that. This is very, very difficult to fit in here now, but just feel like magic is unlocked too late if you only get it in tier 1. Shifting the arrows. Yeah, there's something to this. That's an interesting idea. So, Unlockable Characters Twitch chat says the way your first task could be completed is by either fully exploring one area, killing one enemy, or dying for the first time. That's definitely a direction. I don't know if I want to make it straight up like a quest system. But I feel like there's still room for something in between that. But I do still like the idea of unlocking like treasures and stuff. I like the idea of tangible items in the world, like even something as simple as like killing an enemy drops like a soul shard. Like if pretty anime kind of standard trope type idea in Isekai is like all the enemies drop like these little tokeny items that you can trade into the guild hall. Okay. Yeah, okay, here's what we're going to do. This is going to require a lot of thinking, and I think it's going to be quiet contemplation as I decide which direction I want to go next. We tried this direction of showing it in the level. I don't like that. I want to try a different direction. This may not be the final one. But we're gonna try something else in the second stream this afternoon, but I need to figure out what that something else is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna break early, I guess 20 minutes early for lunch. I'm going to go make lunch and I'm going to think about this, and we're going to come back at 1 p.m. in about an hour and a half, hour and 25 minutes or so. 1 p.m. PST. And then we will pick a direction we'll go. Even if I don't have something that I love by then, we will try something else. And we will keep thinking on this, because I don't think it's something that can be solved immediately, but I think we just need to pick a direction and go for it and see how it works, because there's a lot of features here, like even just stuff like getting the environment revealing in the Goddess Realm will be cool to have as tech, regardless of which direction we finally end up on. And like getting the design data set up, like there is work that we can do here that is not throwaway work, no matter which direction we go. So we're gonna call it early. I'm gonna have some thinking. I'm gonna do some thinking, and we'll come back after lunch with working on this cutscene stuff. So this stream was 100% just scheduling, planning, and just trying to be reflective of where we're at. Taking a step back, trying to look at the big picture. Hope that's been enjoyable, but for now, we're gonna call it. We'll be back in an hour and a half. For now, this is Tolhi signing out. Later, folks.